in the middle of nowhere? And I have to admit that question kind of baffles me, because how doesn't everyone know? But when I think about it, I guess most of us are so used to having an internet in our house through a cable or a landline or something, your phone, that you just don't ever have to think about how you would get it somewhere else. I got my first internet on the road in 2008, and it was fairly primitive then, but it's still, nothing has changed. And so you can get internet in the middle of nowhere. The nearest town from here is 35 miles away, one direction, and the other direction is probably 45. So there's no towns, there's nothing anywhere near me. So how am I getting internet? Well, cell towers are everywhere. And if you are on a major highway, if it's a major highway in nearly every state with a fair amount of traffic, there will be cell towers. And so what we're going to do is get our internet from cell towers. But before we get into that, let me clear up some confusion. There's two kinds of, if you're away from your house, there's two main ways you'll get internet. One is through a Wi-Fi hotspot, and the other is through cellular, cell towers. And I don't want you to mix those up, so let's get that clear right from the beginning. If you go to McDonald's and you can plug in a McDonald's and they'll give you a code, it's often anymore, it's just, the business will put it up, and nearly every business is giving away free Wi-Fi anymore, and you can just connect anywhere. And that's really handy. That's a Wi-Fi hotspot. They have a landline that goes into the McDonald's restaurant or into the grocery store or Starbucks, and then they run that landline to a router. The router broadcasts it as a Wi-Fi signal, and then you get a code and you log in. So that is the main way you probably think of getting Wi-Fi away from your house. I am not getting internet by a Wi-Fi hotspot. That's just not, it doesn't exist here. What does exist here is cell signal. And like I said, every major highway in America has cell towers on it. Now, you can get in between the cell towers, and there will be a gap between the cell towers. So I am not using a Wi-Fi hotspot. There's no stores anywhere near me. I am using internet by cell tower. Like I said, most major highways across America that have a fair amount of traffic on them will have cell towers on them. And if I'm in Colorado, boy, there's going to be the most of the time in mountainous Colorado won't have internet because it's mountainous and its cell towers are line of sight. As long as there's line of sight, nearly all freeways have cell signal along them. And as long as there's line of sight, most major roads across most states will have cell signal most of the way. And so you have to understand that the cell signal carries two things. It carries voice and it carries data. And so on my cell phone, on your cell phone, on virtually every cell phone made in America anymore today, you get both cell and data. So I can make a phone call just by dialing a number. I can make a phone call. But if I go here and I click on Google, now I can do a search on anything. You have cell phone, voice and data on your cell phone. The problem is anymore, most data on your cell phone is going to be pretty small, 10, maybe 15 gigs. On this AT&T phone, I get 10 gigs of data. So it gets data. How am I going to connect to this thing with my laptop or with my iPad or with whatever I want to connect to it with? Well, you can set this up as a Wi-Fi hotspot, just like McDonald's did. So if I go into settings and I hit settings, one of the settings will be Wi-Fi hotspot. I go in there, I turn it on, and if my plan allows that, then it will start sending out a Wi-Fi signal. And just like I connected to McDonald's or Starbucks by Wi-Fi, I can connect here. Same thing, I'll have to have a password, but it'll give me the password and I'll connect. And so now all my devices that connect by Wi-Fi can connect to my cell phone hotspot. And so my cell phone can be both voice and data, and now I can connect a laptop or an iPad or anything that will connect by a Wi-Fi signal, I can connect. but it's very limited amount of data that they will give you. But my Verizon plan gives 15 gigs, and I've gone in and looked, and there are no other cell phone plans that will give me more than 15 gigs. So that's not enough. I need a lot of data because I'm running a business. I'm running a YouTube channel, and I have a lot of going on with Howa, and I need a lot. So the next way you can get it is you can add lines. Now you can add another cell phone and get another 10 or 15 gigs that way, or you can add a Jetpack. So it says, and it comes on and it says MiFi, and then it will come on, and it doesn't do voice. This only does data, but it will pick up a data signal, and there you see it's logging on, and you can see over here it says 4G LTE. This is going to give me 4G LTE just like my phone does, and it's going to work exactly like it. It's going to create a Wi-Fi hotspot, and I can connect up to 10 devices onto this Jetpack. This one is battery operated. It connects to a USB port, and then you can charge it on the USB port and use it on the battery. These are very, very handy. This is $20, and this one on Verizon gives me 15 gigs. So that's a pretty good price per gig, and you can just keep adding lines. Say you need 100 gigs. You could add 5 of these, and that would cost you $100, and that would give you 150 gigs of data a month. So basically, if you buy your phone, Apple or Samsung or Android or whatever, it doesn't matter, you can add on, you can keep adding on to the plan. But this gives me unlimited, I think it's unlimited on the phone. It gives me 10 gigs as a hotspot. This gives me 15 gigs. So I have 25 gigs for the two, and I believe this is about $100 and this is 20. So it's about $120. If I want to add another device, I keep adding more of these or more cell phones. Now, which retailer should you go through? Which provider should you use? Cell provider. Verizon is best. It's just that simple. Everywhere I've gone, Verizon has the most towers. The most remote places, Verizon has been the best. However, AT&T is right behind them. And there are places where I'll get AT&T and I won't get Verizon. And there are places where I'll get Verizon and I won't get AT&T. And if you really have to have data, if you're running a business, you're a digital nomad, then I would definitely get one of each phone and then start adding lines until you add enough. And then between the two of them, you'll always have, you'll almost always connect. Now, there's also now Sprint and T-Mobile, and they have combined. They have now merged. The government has allowed them to. And they're a distant third. You're not going to get nearly the connection out of T-Mobile Sprint than you are out of AT&T and Verizon. If you're a person who absolutely has to have internet, having all three will really do a fantastic job. Something for you to think about. Now, the plans change all the time. I can't give you details on plans because they change so often. There are deals, they're competing. And now with Sprint and T-Mobile combined, maybe they're going to be more competitive. There'll be more deals. So this has LTE built in. Right here in the middle of nowhere, this is on. And I am connected to the internet. And I got it, and the reason I bought it was because it's unlimited. And so I have unlimited on my 12.4-inch iPad. So this is a pretty good productivity machine. If I'm doing heavy production like Word or Excel, I'm gonna get out a laptop and use a Wi-Fi internet. But this does the vast majority of what I need, and because it's unlimited on the iPad itself, I'm not using a Wi-Fi hotspot. I can watch unlimited YouTube, unlimited everything. It's fantastic. That's a good experience there. I mean, I don't mind watching YouTube on that at all. If you could find one of these deals, and they are out there occasionally, I really like that. That's one to watch for. Okay, this is a Microsoft Surface Go. You can buy this with LTE, and here's the thing. I can pull the SIM card out of this and put it in this, and now I have an unlimited Surface IBM PC machine. This is the full version of Word. It's small, and I kind of like that. That's why I chose it. And they have bigger Surface, the bigger Surface machines, Surface 7, that are also LTE. All right, so now we're going to talk about the next level of speed. This is called a MOFI, and it uses cell technology, just like any other 4G cell technology, except that it is a whole step above. When I do a live feed, it is 100% of the time from this device. And because it's just simply better and faster than anything else here. This does something called carrier aggregation. I've got a video that that will come out on this device because it's important that you know about it. It's expensive. This was about $350, and I don't regret that for 1 second. I will do all my live feeds from this. If I need speed, it's on this device. Well, the way carrier aggregation works is your cell signal, your cell tower, has different bands that it's sending out. This device can only pick up one of those bands at a time. It gets that band, it sends out on that band, nothing else. This device can pick up and transmit on multiple bands at a time. That's called carrier aggregation. So this device will talk to the cell tower and says, hey, I do carrier aggregation. Let's talk. And so the cell tower will then divide. It will find the two fastest bands. They'll talk back and forth. But then they'll figure it out. Okay, these are the two fastest bands. I will split the signal between these two bands to you, and it will travel back and forth on two different bands. So it's doubling the transmission speed because it's traveling on two different bands. And they talked and found the two fastest bands. This being only one band can only transmit and receive half as much as this. Okay, so that's the different ways you can get a signal, and I know I gave you we covered a lot of material, and I think I feel bad when I give you all this stuff, but now you know, and if you'll endure getting through this, I think you'll have much better knowledge. I'll put a link to this. So there we go, folks. That's how you can get internet on the road, and I know I covered a lot of details, but I figure if you're so confused, you're asking me how to get internet on the road, I really wanted to walk you through it step by step and make it really simple and complete. And so just slog your way through all this material, and I hope you get it. Okay, there you go. I hope that helps. And if you got anything out of this video, like us on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, hit that thumbs up button, and we'll talk to you later.